G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. If you're just tuning in, my name is Daz. We're just about to head off for quite a big trip. I've got 2 weeks up in New South Wales, so a bit of a drive for me being a Victorian. I've got maybe a 10 to 12 hour drive. Pretty much packed, got to say goodbye to the family now. Heading up for the red deer roar this time. I did try and get last year, but we all got locked in, so made a few final touches on some gear, and I'm keen as, so see you on the road. Still driving. Had a good sleep last night. There wasn't much break in the rain though. There was a slight lull in it, and yeah, the news is still saying the whole east coast is absolutely getting pounded. So I just had a look at the long range forecast of where I'm going, and it looks like going to be some serious rain for the next 3 days. So we're just going to have to ride it out. It could be a good thing though. Like if it was dry underfoot up there, and now it's a bit softer. So I'm hoping that that'll kind of help us if anything. And then when that breaks, I reckon that'll be our time to shine. After that, the weather looks actually superb. So yeah, big system that's just spanned all the way up to Brisbane and all the way down to Victoria. I've been driving all the way through it, and it really hasn't stopped raining. I've not seen anything like it. So, oh, it's Stewie.
Hey mate, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You must have gone away early.
Yeah, I started last night, had to sleep on the side of the road last night, so thought, oh, that'll kind of break up the trip so I'm not so tired when I arrive.
Yeah, righto. Yeah. No, it was good.
It's been non-stop rain though, I tell you. It's and looking at that report, it looks like we're going to have a wet arse for a couple of days.
Yeah, at least till Wednesday.
Yeah, but then I think it's probably a good thing, eh? Like it might push them around and shake them up a bit.
Oh yeah, no, it'll
Well, that was Stewie just heard on the phone there. Oh man, it sounds like there's a couple of roads closed in both directions, which are pretty critical for me getting through. So I'm going to have to make a massive detour. I'm going to go right round and go like over an hour north, and then hook around and come in from the top, because there's a little mountain pass and a river in the bottom of it, and it's all swollen, and it's closed both directions, and it's a bit of a choke point. So bummer, I'll have to get around. I was kind of expecting, I've come a fair way inland anyway, to maybe stay away from a lot of that low-lying land because of all this water, but yeah, hopefully we can get in there. There's a couple of, even when we go hunting, there's actually a couple of rivers that he's saying it would be interesting trying to get across compared to other years. So yeah, I should have brought the waders. I haven't got my raft, so it's going to be interesting. Seems to be getting worse as I go further north. I'll go further inland as well. I've seen some cool towns though. One of the big advantages of getting off the beaten track away from the freeway, I got a cool look at a little town that had a tribute to Light Horse, a little museum there and stuff, so some cool things getting off the beaten track. I landed in New South Wales in the afternoon, so Stewie and I wasted no time, we got straight into it. Geez, a bit of a wet start, but we've gotten lucky straight away. Stewie and I can see a stag and a couple of pigs on the opposing face. Just try to get the wind right and get a bit close. We just saw a really big pig. It's an absolute fucking monster. I'm gonna try and get down on him. Oh fuck.
I reckon that one was the bigger one.
Yeah, it's hard to say I've lost him. I don't know where he went. But this one here is fucking decent.
The one up here is quite a good one too. This one here, rooting, the one that's rooting now. See him rooting around? Yeah. He's quite a good pig. There's heaps of them. Oh. Yeah, that's a bull. Left of the tree now. Here he comes. That was like 2 meters off him. Did you feel like you're on him?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something up with this fucking gun.
Meters away.
Like, yeah, 2 meters away.
It's not a bad wrap, that is it?
That blonde's the front one.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really light.
Yeah, you can definitely see his iris. Give him a call, Stu.
Hey?
Give him a call. Oh, they hit that cover. He's looking at us now.
Hey?
He's looking this way now. Yeah, they're listening.
Got him there now.
They're all watching, they're all listening this way. She's going to lead him off. Well, it's definitely a wet start to the hunt. And we're fairly confident that something's up with my rifle. It's one of those things we definitely should have checked pre-coming out. I was out hunting last weekend and I shot a fallow deer, and I thought the shot felt good, but my shot placement was a little bit far back, so I did kind of have it on my mind. And yeah, that was a clean miss. I mean, it wasn't Stewie's rifle, but we saw the point of impact land about a good meter away, so we're going to go back to camp, dry out, and recheck everything. And then of course, in all that commotion, there was a nice young red stag came out with his girls, so we didn't even know. We saw a stag there, but we don't reckon that was him. So now we think there's 2 over there. So that worked out alright in the end as a bit of a recon trip for day 1. But wow, it just has not broken this weather. It's full on. I'll go back and have some brekkie. Good start. This is the first gap in the rain, little gap in the rain that we've had since we've been here. And the river's swollen, nearly broken its banks. I'm going to go for a drive in a minute and have a look around and see what it's like out on the roads. But you got logs, I don't know if you can see it from there, but lots of debris floating down the river. Logs and trees being uprooted. This is normally just a trickle, this. Like maybe 3 or 4 meters across. It's now more like 20-25 meters across. Here comes another big tree. Full on, eh? They say it on the news, a once in a 100 year event, and it's moving inland. So I checked on the I got one of those weather forecasts on the satellites, and that was saying that the rain is supposed to ease at about 7 o'clock tonight, which could put us in a really good position to for all those animals to get out and really shake things up. So it's good. We've seen, we think, 2 stags. We're not sure if we saw the same one twice, but I'm pretty confident the other stag we saw this morning was a bigger animal, a bigger bodied animal. So I think we've seen that hind with its yearling, the 2 stags, and then there was probably 7 or 8 of those pigs, and one of them was a really good pig. But we did a little bit of shooting on the thing, and I think it was Stewie missing, so the time will tell. I did a 3-shot group, and they're all nicely placed. I just double checked everything, all the screws are tight, all the torque settings are good. Did a 3-shot group and it looks fine, so can't really check anything more beyond that in the field. So the plan is this afternoon it's still forecast to come in again, pretty heavy rain, so we're going to go and have a little bit of a scout from the car, trying to stay a little bit drier. Now we know where there's a couple of good animals. We'll just stay back from them and see what they get up to this afternoon, and we're going to have a bit of a mission tomorrow when the weather's a bit fairer. She's got an awesome cape on her.
Very pretty.
Yeah, single, ready to mingle, all there by lonesome. What do you reckon about that, Toby Dog? I know it's a long way off, but up the back there, there's a red deer centre screen. Around that red deer, we've counted 13 others around that. They're probably 800 metres off us, so nothing we can do about it now. We've only got about half an hour of light left. But there's that little gully's holding a lot of animals. Well, it's pretty much gotten dark now. Stu and I have been sitting out watching these deer for most of the afternoon. It's finally the weather has cleared, and we're going to head back. We can't do much about these guys now, but we know they're there. He's not a bad deer. He's holding a couple of hinds, but this is really just a bit of a recon mish here, so we'll, looks like we've got some really nice weather coming in the morning. So we're going to go for a mission tomorrow right out into the forest and have a good look around. Soon come up with, it's good to see, it's kind of what we anticipated with the shift in weather. All the animals have just come out in mass. Just saw a big boar as well, trying across the other side, so Stewie might get his redemption at some point. We're up nice and early this morning, it's a new day. We're jumping in the car, putting a bit of gear in the car and heading over to another spot. Recce on another side of a mountain range here, so we'll see what the day holds. It's been the weather today, we've got a westerly wind and the rain has finally stopped, and I saw some stars when I got up in the middle of the night last night, so hopefully we get more of an overcast kind of scenario or even sunshine today rather than this relentless rain. A much more pleasant start this morning with a bit of sunshine. We're probably a little bit late because it's now pretty light. We normally get down a bit further before sun up, but it's quite windy coming in from the west, a bit windier than forecast, which makes it hard to listen. We haven't heard any animals yet, no roaring. It's still early in the piece. This is really the first definite sign I've seen of a hard antler animal on this side. It's been very quiet. Finally found some red deer. Finally. There 6 red deer just cruising up this face here. Just got a glimpse of them. Couldn't see if there was a stag with them. And they've gone around the corner there, so I'm going to have to cross faces. I had the perfect setup here. Cross gully. They crossed a little bit high. I was watching some kangaroos. They've gone around, so Stewie's just come up with some fresh prints down there too, he said on the radio, so he's walking up a different group of deer. And it was on the wind very faint earlier, but I definitely heard a roar, so I headed in this direction Must be a stag with them because I'm sure I heard it. There's the older rub tree here. A little bit familiar, the old cherry tree. I've seen quite a few cherry trees in this area and deer haven't touched them, so this one's a bit odd because they have, just like at home with the samba. Maybe there's samba here. That'll be a treat. Somewhere those deer slip through here somewhere. I'm on the trail now. It's a good game trail here. Headed that way, but the wind's really swirly. It was perfect down there to come this side, but here it's doing some weird stuff, so hopefully if they're just here in the sun they don't smell me coming up to them. I just saw another red deer hind walk through here. I don't know if she was onto me or not. The wind's swirling, but she was moving like she was a bit spooked, so I reckon she might have got a whiff of me. Seems to be by herself, there's nothing trailing. There's a couple of roos down below that are undisturbed, so not sure if I should sit here, see if something picks up her scent and follows her. It's been a pretty quiet morning. I've seen 7 deer, heard one roar, a couple of roos, but considering the ground that I've covered, still fairly quiet morning. It's so spread out, and I thought they might have been fairly quiet, being they probably haven't seen any people, but they're still pretty highly strung. Tried to sneak in on a hind, get a bit of footage, but she was onto it straight away. Look at the size of this thing. That is massive.
Huge big brekkie.
I think we earned this one.
We're up nice and early this morning. A 4 AM start. It's a bit of dew about this morning. It's a little bit colder and a lot of cloud cover as well. A little bit of mist, which is probably ideal, to be honest. So we're gonna have another crack where we went yesterday, even though it was light on the ground. Later in the day, we finally got onto the deer, so we're gonna do the same thing, but just a lot earlier, and see if that can get a different result. Red deer rubbing high. So I've been sitting in this spot for a while. Me and Stewie separated this morning. We walked in together and just took up a different kind of line, and yesterday I saw some deer kind of in between us, and there's a lot of game trails running below, and we've got a pretty good view of the valley down below, so I thought might be able to hear a roar if there's a stag around, and Stewie said I'll come over to you and we'll go for another walk, and on his way to me, right in between us in the same spot as yesterday, there's a hind bedded with a yearling and a young stag, he said, and it just cut straight up in between us. So those ones had gone into the other system, so we might have to go and have another explore further down into this creek system. Wind's been pretty kind today, it's kind of staying steady. The sun's just starting to come out now and break through these clouds, so we're on the move again. Nothing to report on this side either. So quiet. This, as we kind of anticipated, the deer just must have such a big spread on them. We can see so much terrain here, and for over an hour not to see a single animal, it's really odd. Yeah, we're definitely going to just have to put a lot of more boot work in and cover more ground, more systems. There's a lot of boundaries here, so if we push too hard and we push them out, the little deer that are here, we risk pushing them out of where we're allowed to hunt. Hit the jackpot in terms of glassing position. Stew's let me out a couple of roars. It's a bit of an amphitheatre here. It's been fairly quiet. Not a single roar over here this morning. We've got another side to check, another face, so work our way around and see if our luck can change over there. It's actually where those deer crossed earlier this morning. Some fresh droppings around here though. This is so spread out. Look at this bush. This is so much feed. There's just, tucker everywhere. There's absolutely no reason for them to go out into the paddocks or in the fringe country. They're all back here in the bush. Oh, maybe stag. It's just got spread, but it's quite a good bit of sign across here. Lots of fresh shrubs. They've definitely been in here not too long ago. It's been bashing this one pretty hard. Check this out. Finally found one. Stewie, we think this might be the one that we bumped this morning. It's the hind with the young one, and this morning they had a stag with them. Stewie thinks it might be like a 10-pointer, a young 10-pointer. So looks like they're pretty happy there. So they've only changed two systems to evade us. And they're out of the wind now. We've got the wind swirling on this side of the gully. Well, now we wait. It's taken us 4.5 hours to find the deer, but we found them. She stepped into that spot. Oh, I think there's another one coming behind her. That's the third. Yeah. Cool. So that could be the stag group. Right, just as I get filming on this stag, it's starting to rain. This camera's not waterproof. You're on him? See the stag? Yep, I'm on him now. Yep. Definitely got his attention. He's looking straight at us like he was pinpointed us. Can you pick him? You can see this stag print just down the bottom of the fence there. That's that fresh stag print that's headed in that game trail in that direction. And that deer's crossed down the creek in the flat down below us. He's come up on that side and joined those hinds, and that's where we've just got a bit of footage of him, just glimpses of him. But yeah, he's a young 10-pointer by the look of it. Good to get eyes on him and know exactly what we're dealing with, so good stuff. Just pays to walk up those fresh tracks, eh? All fire up. And here it comes. You really see how much bigger these prints are than the old Samba prints. You know, that's quite wide, quite long. Seem to be much heavier too. Well, it was getting on in the day, so we thought we'd have a little look on another property, head back and have to lunch, and headed back out for another afternoon stalk. And we were lucky enough to get eyes on quite a good animal, nice big stag. But again, the property boundary is always a bit of an issue here, so all we could do is sit back and watch. Yep. Yeah, give me another one. He's revved up. He's roaring. He's roaring. It's bath time. Fuck, it's cold. Upside is we've got a hut. Downside is the only way to shower is in the river. Holy shit. We got really fresh deer prints all over this little gully. This gully head switches around into a bit of a crow's foot. So the deer are definitely here. It's a really cold morning. The sun's just coming up and this is the first point of the sun. That's what drew me to it, and it looks like it's drawn the deer to it as well. It's so quiet. They might have made me and I didn't see them sneak off, but I reckon this is where they'd be. I might just have to sit tight here and see if they move about a bit. I think we're pretty close to seeing some deer then. We could smell them, and a lot of prints. And I reckon we're just behind them, coming off the feeding ground. We're just backtracking a game trail that leads down to that feeding ground just so we can perhaps pattern it a bit for another day. We came over the top and we didn't realise this was here, so backtracking the prints is leading us from where we think they spent the night, and we think we know where they went to in the morning. It's pretty textbook really, because they headed over the sunny side at first light, so that was the theory and it's paid off. That's what's going on. So we might just give them a spell for a day or so and then have a setup, try and sit on this game trail and ahead of them. If they're coming up at first light, they might walk into us. What a spot to spend a couple of weeks, eh? Right on the river. I love these trips. Just time slows right down. You can really enjoy doing a few things that you take for granted at home. you know, everything's a little bit different on these extended trips. Having a shower in the river, having a shave by the car, all those kinds of things. But yeah, it's been really interesting on the deer front. We knew this season was going to be a tricky one, and rightly so. We've had to do a lot of scouting to get any sightings of deer, and you know, there's a few theories that Stewie and I have been throwing around by the campfire late at night, and I think the one that's kind of ringing true at the moment is hinds being spread out. So a big spread on the hinds instead of being in those bigger groups that we're used to seeing, and that's really attributed to so much food and fodder in lots of places where this time of year after a dry summer, a lot of those deer, because we're on the fringe country, would come down and capitalise on the blackberries and the improved pasture, especially through the night, and then they'd go back and bed during the day, and we put ourselves in between that. But yeah, with everything being so good in the bush, and the bush looking the best we've really ever seen it, there's just no need for them to take that risk. And there's just such a big variety of fodder and grasses and berries, and it's just all firing back there in the bush. It just looks great. So yeah, so naturally the deer aren't concentrated into those areas that's holding good food because it's everywhere, so they're spread right out, and of course the stags are just picking up one or two hinds here and there, and we've seen a few lone stags roaming about, and that's really what we're kind of focusing on, is the chance that there's a stag that hasn't found any and he's doing a lot of miles like we are. It really comes down to a chances game, just trying to put ourselves out there enough that we bump into each other. Really, it's becoming very, very hard to pattern. Now, I don't spend too much time on red deer. This is more of a Stewie's kind of forte, but just drawing a lot of experience from Samba and a little bit of the red deer and fallow deer hunting I've done. I think that's what's happening. So I've got a bit of a down day today. Stewie's headed into town. He's got a wedding to go to, so I'm here for a day or so by myself. I might get some more supplies, and then yeah, just do a bit more recon and a few sit and waits. We're watching a few animals, but they're kind of holding where they are, and not really shooters. Like Stewie and I have kind of challenged ourselves to set the bar each time a little bit higher from previous hunts, and we've both got a few good red deer trophies under our belt, so we're being fussy. At some point we probably will try and get some meat though, because both our freezers are looking a little bit low, so towards the end of the hunt we'll start switching to meat mode, I'd say. So yeah, all in all though, the wet start is it's changed around a little bit. We've now got some absolutely beautiful weather, so time to enjoy the bush and do some of those mundane chores that you used to do it at home with a much better view. Shower and a shave. A few hunters' wives give me a bit of feedback that you boys been watching the videos late at night in bed on the iPad, so they said they're sick of seeing my big hairy face up close, so this one's for you. So we're heading back into a spot for the afternoon that we originally hunted when we first got here. We saw a couple of big boars, and there was a stag roaring down here. We've got eyes on a couple of them. So I'll just go and have a sit wait down here and see what happens for the afternoon. You never know, we've left this for a few days, so there was quite a few hinds in here, and it might have changed. Another stag might have moved in, or one that's a bit better of an animal. So go down and get on this face for an afternoon sunset. It's a nice little spot. The wind's kind of perfect, so if they're roaring, I'll definitely be able to hear them, because they'll be on that bush side, and the roars will be coming straight towards me. I'll be on the sitting out here in the field of thistles. So I've come round to this northern aspect here, which it's a warm day and I'm in the sun and it's quite uncomfortable. It's really warm, so you know, a deer with a fur coat on, I'm thinking that they're going to be on the southerly aspect that I'm looking across the gully. That's my theory. Now, in the other afternoons, in the cooler afternoons, we had animals feeding below us on this face. Wallabies, some of the cows came past, and then right on dusk, the deer came out. So right now, there's no cows here. There's no wallabies, there's no macropods, there's no other animals here. So I'm thinking that the more comfortable spot right now is definitely that cooler face. It's partially treed, and it's got some open sections now. It definitely will be cooler on that dense, southerly treed face. So, but that's my theory. So I'm going to sit here and try and test it. Starting to get cooler now. Only got about 45 minutes of light left. Still no animals, nothing. No pigs, not even, can't even see a cow. I don't know where the animals are. They gotta be in the forest, I reckon. Finally been joined by an animal. That's a wombat. But from the thicket, and I was convinced there was no animals in that foresty bit in front of me, a stag has just roared his head off, and he's just here somewhere. I cannot find him. I've got a caller. I've just let out a hind call. No response. So I don't know if I should move it. He's close. He's just there. He's just roared again. I'll try and call him in and sit tight, or move towards him and risk that he'll see me before I see him. I'm in the open and he's got the cover, so if I move, there's a fair chance he'll spot me. Now, about half an hour before this had happened, I let out a single hind call. Now, what's amazing is the ability of these red deer to absolutely, with pinpoint accuracy, hone in on that sound. This guy must have been a good 400 meters away before he started on his path towards me. And what happens next is going to stay with me for a long time, I can tell you that. It's a pretty special moment to have it all come together and have a wild animal like this just come into such close proximity. In the end, he was probably 15 to 20 meters from me, and there's about 20 minutes of really crisp footage there he spent with me, just trying his hardest to win me, and he couldn't quite get around to that right hand side because of some blackberries in there, but I'm just going to let the rest of this footage roll so you can have a look at it and enjoy it as much as I did. seeing anything all afternoon besides that wombat. And this guy's just come into probably 15-20 metres roaring. What an experience. Can't believe my luck. So, theory was right. There he goes, just walking down back to where he came from, across that little stream. So, I can't believe that hindcore pulled him out of there. That was awesome. I'm so glad I came out. That just topped off an epic day from weather-wise, that foggy sunrise. It was just one of the most amazing starts. Smelling a ruddy stag this morning and following some really good game trails up. And then nice relaxing day down at camp and topped it off with a roaring stag. Doesn't get much better. Can't wait to catch up with Stewie and let him know what's gone down. What an awesome arvo. So, sitting back here now, kind of reflecting back to what happened and not being able to see any animals while that was quite a warm day. And then when he roared, he was actually right down. There's a big thicket of heavy cover with blackberries along the riverbank. He was actually right down in there, and I was looking all above, up onto that hill, and couldn't see him at all. So it's time for a nice hot meal, and I'll turn in for the night. See you in the morning, guys.